Hey Darren, I really love this concept, and it really looks better every day, so it's really cool. Um, so just a few suggestions still. Now we're just really much into like tinkering. For the bacon, you might want to make the bacon that's in, where is it? The bacon that's in the front. Oh no, that's that image mask. I can't find it. Huh. Oh, here it is right here. If you make this one bigger, it'll look closer and it will appear to have more perspective. So you can already see how it kind of already looks better because it looks, now it looks like it's more in the foreground. So you could probably even make it bigger. If you wanted to really push it, not necessary, but it's just the rules of perspective that objects that are bigger are closer, appear closer. So anyway, you could do something like that if you wanted to. Totally up to you. But I think that it does add a little bit of a nice touch. And it also shows for your portfolio that you understand some of these rules of perspective. You could even do a perspective transformation on the carrot. I don't know if it's how it's going to look, but under the edit menu, if you go to transform and you go to perspective, again, I don't know what this is going to, I don't know about that. But anyway, it's a pretty cool tool just to play with it. I'm not going to really do much with it. So just some little small tinkering stuff. I would still put the text on different layers, and I really would go and try to find something, a font that's a little bit more interesting, that goes with goes a little bit better with your concept. Any of these fonts here, there's so many of them. I mean, this is like 27 pages of this in this one comic category. So again, these are super easy to install, and they really will, again, for your portfolio, give the viewer just more of a sense of personality, and not just using the sans serif font that came with the system. I don't think necessarily that the bacon mask is working that well, because the text is just still too small to see it. So I would probably just totally get rid of that and maybe just make it red or green or something like that. Just because I don't think that, let me see, I just don't think it really adds much, and I just don't think it's readable to being bacon. But some warm color down there would really work, because it's going to carry the warm colors from elsewhere into the the picture plane. So, and I would still tinker a little bit with the stake, just in terms of moving it and in terms of rotating it, just to really get it to do what you, my rotation thing is just being really sensitive. I don't know. There's so many just tiny little tinkering things that can endlessly go on, and I'm not saying for you to do that, but I'm just saying that it is kind of what these last phases are about, really tinkering with all this stuff. The hamburger could be a little bit bigger, but not much bigger, because I don't think that you want it to really dominate that much. I don't even know where it is in here. Steak, carrot, watermelon, bacon, shadow. Yeah, I'm not sure where it is. And the last thing is that still some of this background is making some of these elements hard to see. So, you could try, working with, something like brightness and contrast, because I think that since you have mostly dark objects, you might want to make the background brighter. And I'm not saying this bright or anything like that. Another thing you could do is just dodge out some of the parts that are behind, behind the area. So that didn't really do much. So with the background, which I'm going to copy it, is, you can just go use the dodge tool. I don't think we even covered that much in this class, but it's another super, or burn tool. They're the same concept as in wet photography, but if you just maybe darken some of the areas. So again, I start off with very low exposures. Maybe that's even too much. And then you can make the brush bigger by hitting the bracket tool or up in the brush thing. And then if you just dodge around some of the areas. Let's see, I have midtones selected. See, it's not doing all that much. Oh, I'm burning. That's why it's doing the opposite of what I wanted. So I'm on the right tool now, the dodge. And I'm going to switch it to midtones, and I'm going to lower the opacity, the exposure quite a bit. And then just see, because again, that's why I always copy layers, because I like to have a lot of different stuff. So if you just you can see what it's doing, mostly through some of these detailed areas. Where mostly right here, because this is such a focal point right here. So I'm going to, let's see. Let me see if it even looks any better at all. Not really. Another thing you could do is just lighten, a couple of these areas so they look more like these. I mean, you could even use the clone or pattern stamp tool, just because you really want this area here to really stand out. I don't know, you could do some layer masking. I don't know, it might look really corny. See, I can't really find, where's that eggplant? Dun, 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 dun. Okay, I realized they were all in a folder. So again, I'm just on this bagel here, and so if you go into the layer styles, you could try something like a little bit of a glow. I'm going to turn it to normal. And then it would make it stand out just a little bit. I don't know. You do something like that, and then you lower the opacity. It adds just a little bit to make it stand out. So you might want to try something like that, because they're just the negative. It's complicated. It's hard to, if you put images over complicated backgrounds, they're just really hard to see. So you might want to continue working with that a little bit. You can make it any color. I'm just using white. You could make it kind of a yellow color too, to go kind of with what's around it. And so again, you can see kind of what that looks like. You could try doing it to the eggplant, but the eggplant's kind of stands out okay, I think. The hamburger maybe could use it, because it's kind of like, it's also a really big focal point. So I'm just going to add, something like a red color, because I think that I think you've got this really cool reds down in here, and I think that if it carried over to up there, I think it could look really cool. And again, this is really very large, so I would probably make it a lot smaller. And again, you can work with the opacity as well. Make it really bright or make it really faint. So anyway, just some suggestions, because I think you've got such a cool piece. You're really almost there. So yeah, so just work with the text, work with making some of these areas stand out a little bit more. Even now, I wonder if some contrast. I wonder if I made it darker. See, darker almost lets it stand out too. So anyway, I would just work with this, because even if you gave little glows around it, it would just stand out more. Let's see. Remove the contrast or add more contrast. So I would really just play with all these layer adjustments because I just think that you can probably get the caricature to stand out a little bit more. Okay, so anyway, whoops, it's looking really good, and yeah, glad to see it. It's really a fun piece. Okay, one more draft to go, I guess.